Thank you. All righty. So as I mentioned, thank you for sharing those fun first jobs and pineapple on pizza, whether you like it or not. It's always an interesting question to ask everyone. So we'll learn a little bit more now about Veritas Technologies. So our mission is to enable people to harness the power of information. And this is just something that we are so passionate about, because you can see it in how we are the #1 leader for data storage and protection. Just to give you an idea, the global data protection market was valued at over 77 million in 2019 and is projected to reach 258 million by 2027. One of the other things that's maybe a little known fact is in Latin, Veritas means truth, and we don't just believe that there's truth in your information, we live by it ourselves. And as I mentioned, we're one of the foremost leaders, and as a leader in multi-cloud data management, we are consistently ranked as one of the best in the industry and have the data to back that up. And honestly, that idea and value of truth is a thread that runs through all that we do. So what do? Well, we support some of the most vital sectors in the world, which include areas like in education, healthcare services, and helping keep our troops safe and safeguarding the military, as well as aiding in investigations in cyber crimes like ransomware. And I know that maybe we can get a show of hands, people raising their hands. Who's heard of ransomware before? Yeah, it's definitely something. Yeah, I'm seeing some hands pop up. Additionally, we help fight identity theft, especially in the financial sector, with tools to catch hackers. All righty. So our employees in our offices, they're global. We have over 6,000 employees in 127 countries. And kind of a high level breakdown on how this looks is we've got our headquarters here in Santa Clara, California. But we additionally have an office in Roseville, Minnesota, as well as Heathrow, Florida. We even have one in Mexico City, Mexico, as well as Sao Paulo in South America. Additionally, we've got multiple offices in EMEA and Pune, India, as well as more than one in our APJ region. So other fun facts and figures. We've got over 1,600 global patents, and we work with 86% of Fortune 500 companies. We have over 50,000 enterprise customers, and we just last year were named 17th time leader in the Gartner Index, and are just very proud of that. So we also have a very strong passion about our corporate responsibility. We believe that a better world is good for business, and we're committed to sustainable, responsible, and inclusive practices. These are in 3 main areas, such as corporate citizenship, DE&I, and you can see that's a banner of our ERG groups. Those are employee resource groups for African American individuals, Pride, women, Hispanic, and more. So very much involved in that diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as that third one, which is environmental sustainability. All righty. So that's kind of a good high level view of the company. I'm going to pause real quick and see if anyone has questions. Feel free to drop them in the chat, or do we have the ability to come off mute? If you want to come off mute.
I'll go. How do you handle malicious misinterpretation of data? Because you were talking about how truth is a big thing, but it's come across in the news how people like take the statistics and interpret them in contrary to what the facts would actually show you. Is there stuff that you do to make sure that your data is not used in that way, or that you're able to point out like, oh, they're using recall instead of precision, and that's the wrong kind of thing, wrong kind of data point to be taking.
That's a really good question. Way to go out the gate with a good question. Pranav, I'm seeing you off
Yeah.
mute. Do you want to take that?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, I'm not primarily 100% certain because I just joined, but my knowledge on this would be basically we provide backup and the ransomware protective softwares or tools for these larger companies to have this data backed up, so that in case there is a loss of in case there is a loss or there is a server crash or something, like it makes it very easy. So let me give you an example. So let's assume a company like Coca-Cola. Okay, they have servers running from multiple places, correct? And then once these servers kind of crash, it's not very easy for them to get that restore point, but Veritas software makes it easy for them. So we cannot see the customer data. That would be considered wrong, correct? So I cannot go and tell Facebook, oh, your data is wrong. I am a company that provides backup software, I would say. So that is what I think that is what our company is going towards, is the aim. And we have a lot of software, and we are actually moving to cloud very soon. So we are in cloud, but we are making the transition so that even the smaller companies would be able to access cloud easily. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Pranav.
Thank you, Pranav. Alrighty, well, that was a really great first question. I want to make sure also we have time for our wonderful speakers, Ian and Pranav, to share about their experiences. So I'm going to move forward. If you have other questions, drop them in the chat and we'll address them when we can. I know we're going to have multiple spots where we're stopping for Q&A as well. So we might just like lump them all on those slides. So without further ado, Ian, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you can start with the next slide after that one. So yeah, just to briefly introduce myself, I'm currently a senior at Carnegie Mellon University, graduating this spring. I studied technical writing with a technical concentration based in Pittsburgh, because that is where Carnegie Mellon is. And currently, and mostly over the summer, I was digital communications intern, but my role has sort of shifted to something else during the course of the year. But yeah. So I guess just to like briefly describe the project that I was doing over the summer, sort of this new customer-facing document, sort of like this kind of high-level overview and generalized introduction to Veritas support. So the essential idea was for this document to sort of serve as a quick start guide that customers can use and direct them and inform them of the various support services at their disposal. So an example I like to think of is, say when you buy an iPhone or other piece of technology, it usually comes with two documents. One would be more of that kind of reference heavy kind of technical specification manual, and the other would be more of a quick start kind of how do I get this thing running kind of guide. And so this would be more of that latter example. So these are the different steps that were taken in kind of getting to that final version of the product or the guide. And so step one would be to onboard myself. So coming in as a new intern to Veritas, I didn't really know much about the products and services about the company within the company or the company that was offering itself. So kind of had to gain that kind of knowledge firsthand. The next step was sort of kind of synthesize all that knowledge into some sort of structure. And that's where developing an outline came in. And step three, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the next slide, was actually getting a chance to talk to customers themselves and interview them, which sort of we used this feedback and their feedback to kind of develop that first draft, which we then went through our first official round of feedback with internal stakeholders, which then led us to the final version of the guide. But yeah, that's a quick breakdown of kind of the different steps that went into the project. So yeah, as mentioned, that the third step, I think it was, had us doing some interviews with customers directly. And so CPEP provided this really great opportunity to be able to hear from customers directly. And CPEP stands for the Customer and Partner Engagement Program at Veritas. And I guess from an internal perspective, it allows us to be able to engage with customers, hear their feedback, maybe understand their pain points in a various number of matters. And from a customer perspective, they gain incentives for participating in those kind of surveys. So how this process started was we sent out an initial survey to kind of see what kind of responses we would get to the questions we were asking. And the questions we were asking were kind of on their support experience and their various interactions with the support website. And so based upon those results from the survey, we decided to select various individuals to actually engage with a one-on-one interview via Zoom. And so essentially this entire process allowed us to kind of gain some insight onto various matters that the customer would find important to know in a guide, and how a new customer kind of perceives Veritas support, and kind of just determine the best way to make it as easy as possible for someone that is starting a new product with Veritas to understand kind of all the different services at their disposal. And so kind of taking that feedback and those ideas and pain points from the CPEP interviews, we used that to develop the first draft of the guide. And so this first draft of the guide was pretty lengthy. We wanted to cut it down, and so the next step was to kind of engage with the different stakeholders that had various involvement with the guide itself. So for example, if I'm talking about one specific product, then we'd obviously talk to the product management team that's in charge of that product to make sure that the stuff we wrote is accurate to that product. And so this basically, just presenting guide to individuals from each team to get that preliminary feedback, make sure it's legally qualified to be released to customers. So yeah, this is just like an example of an infographic that I developed, kind of just refining the, I guess, the visual appeal of it. Pretty straightforward. The next one. And this is an example of an infographic that was developed from scratch to sort of help cut down on lengthy text. So you see this text in the left hand, instead of having that kind of just be, thrown at the customer, a big block of text, we decided to make it a little more visually appealing. Use some nice colors, some circles, whatnot. And so this is like sort of what the final guide ended up looking like. It's sort of different now because Veritas went through a bit of a rebrand in October. And so I'm kind of currently in the process of updating that to match that new branding guideline. So kind of to summarize everything I've learned, top to bottom here. So I've learned a lot about leveraging my network at Veritas, specifically utilizing. So if there was a specific area of the company that I had to write about, or a product that I had to write about, I didn't know much about it. So obviously to contact the right person to get the right information about that, to make sure I was writing about it accurately. I also learned about presenting to stakeholders, making sure that essentially that they're aware of the things I'm writing, and also to kind of, I guess, the sense of decorum in presenting to someone that's higher up in the company, I think is a valuable skill to have. Next thing would be conducting surveys and interviewing with customers. So I think the main takeaway for this for me was the fact that these customers didn't know I was an intern. They just assumed I was a regular employee. And so obviously I had to match that expectation. And next would be getting and implementing feedback, sort of similar to presenting to stakeholders, but also along the lines of getting interviewing customers, sort of just synthesizing all these different areas of feedback into one cohesive thing. And the last thing would be also speaking that point, which would be synthesizing all this disconnected content into sort of unified content, basically just taking all these different pieces of support information, different guides, different places to go for information, figuring out a way to put that under one umbrella that is this quick start guide. But yeah, I'm kind of working on different things now, mostly video tutorials and whatnot, but this was my project over the summer.
Nice. Thank you, Ian. So I'm going to pause real quick and see if we have any questions for Ian. I'm seeing something in the chat. Oh, someone dropped one of our website links or a Google Doc. Thank you, Juan. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna move forward. If you have questions again, feel free to drop them in the chat, or we'll pause after Pranav shares about his experience and what he's been working on. Without further ado, Pranav, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, hello everyone. So as Sherry already introduced me, I'm an intern, and I was an intern, and now I'm working in full time. So this is basically a small thing of where I started. So I started as an IT major in University of Pune. I worked at multiple small companies, large companies, and I learned, I did some research assistantship. And finally, last year in May, I started my internship at Veritas Technologies LLC. So yeah, next slide, Monique. Yeah. Okay. So there were a lot of more slides which were needed to be added, but the problem was a lot of information was considered to be private, and customer information at the same time, a lot of information. So these are some of the slides, but I'll try to, relay as much as information as I can. So basically, the thing that I had to develop was previously, before I joined, there was this top deal SharePoint application where all the top deals that Veritas has. So the big company deals which we had, all of them were stored in an Excel sheet and maintained there. Okay. And because they were high visibility and they had high priority, so we needed to move that into a dashboard. So we integrated the top deals in the order management command center. So monitor top deals by quarter. So we had to monitor them by geo, as Monique already mentioned. We have multiple geolocations. So like EMEA is one, AMS is one. So AMS is America, EMEA. Then we have APJ, Asia Pacific and Japan. So they needed to be shown in a separate way. Then the thing is, it's not just enough to just show the top deals. Before, everyone had a manual process where they would go and search in the CRM or an ERP system. I'm sure the computer science majors would get this. So in the ERP or CRM system, basically you had to go in and get the deal information and then store it in the Excel sheet. So what we did is we connected all these systems, okay, and then we had a end-to-end deal, quote, sales order, and then to the contract. So we went through that phase. So the automation was what we did, and not just that, but we also provided an Excel kind of interface to the business team so that they can easily edit the deals. So just like an Excel sheet, they can go click on that particular cell of the table and edit it. And all of this was done using open source tools, that is React and Java and the basic database. So yeah, so that was basically the project. Can we go next, Monique? Yeah. So so these were some of the key features. So real-time status update of top deals. Then we had to provide responsive user interface, because even the CFO was going to see even the CFO was going to see the deals. So he should be able to see it from his iPad whenever. So during the quarter end, they want to close the deals. So the business team can just log into their iPad and see the deal. That was the goal. And then edit data in Excel type interface. As I told you, it's just click and it works out. And then we created various filters. Can we go to the next slide? So this is basically how it looked like. Okay. So this was the dashboard that I created in React. And as you can see on the top right, can you just take a mouse on that switch, top right? Yeah. So that switch is going to move, is going to show you the Excel sheet. Okay. So if you click on that switch, it will show you the Excel sheet. Okay. So this was the business feedback that we got. So the VP of Finance loved it. He was like, this is awesome. The senior director, sales operation, she was really happy with the work. And down to the base director of sales operation and the sales executives, they gave us really great business feedback on this project. So basically, what you can see here is, as an intern at Veritas, we don't get a project, that is just something that, side job or something, that needs to be done. It is a high visibility and high, a very important task is provided so that you can actually show your skills and make sure you deliver. Okay, so this is what I learned at Veritas. Okay, so I learned Veritas code to cash business process. So this was actually more than the technical skills. I found this to be useful sometimes because it's easy to go and learn React, right? But to learn the business skill, to know how actually business process takes place is very important, I feel. And it makes a lot of sense to know that. Only then you can develop the application, otherwise you cannot without the requirements. I had to work with global teams, guys. So I had to work with a team in Ireland. I had to work with team in India. I had to work with team in the West Coast, in the East Coast. I had to work with a team in Japan. So it was great experience. I would say a lot of sleepless nights. But yeah, at the end, the outlook was great. The output was really great. And then at the end, I would like to add, I learned React hooks. I used React before. I didn't use the hooks one. But yeah, so I got to learn React hooks and then Java Spring Boot. Okay, so now what I do as a full-time employee. You guys must be thinking this is really vague. Yeah, this is really vague. I agree to it. Okay, so currently I'm working on integrating with the Microsoft Azure marketplace and the AWS marketplace. So we're going to do this integration into our existing subscription platforms. So so basically what we are trying to do is, so what my job is, I have to collaborate. I have to understand the requirements from business, from my manager, and from various different teams. Okay. And once I am done understanding those requirements, I have to make estimates and plans of how we are going to deploy it. Because the thing is, I have been given a project again where the team does not have much idea of where to move. So they have put me in the driver's seat and they are asking me to do this. Okay, so if you get it done, Pranav, we will assist you, but you need to get it done. So that is where we are. That is what, and I found it to be really high visibility. I'm talking again to the VPs and whatnot to just get access of things. That's great. And then I need to design the systems. I need to understand the APIs. I need to read different API documentations. I have to see, okay, if this API, this ID, where does it map to, or how do I map it? And then I have to integrate them. And at the end, my job is also to improve the existing process. So if I have designed a process, I need to improve it. Or if there is an existing process, like we had a data cleanup process during my internship, which I improved using Python. And, we found so much data that was not useful. That was not customer data, I will tell you. Very frankly, it was our data, and we did the cleanup. So yeah, this is what I have done in my master's. What I have done in my internship and what I'm currently doing now. Okay, so there are a lot of questions.
Yeah, we got some questions. Do you want to start with one, Monique, and I'll do the next one?
Oh my goodness, they all populated in, so I gotta scroll here. All right, so Mustafa asks, would you say that most of your work involves application development, refinement, and integration?
I would say that is part of my work, application development, refinement, and integration. I even work with the discovery of applications. So basically, even before we go to application development, we guys have to see how to integrate it. So if someone has not done something before, because Veritas is transforming now, they're moving to a different kind of an ideology, to cloud and everything. So if there is a lot of new area or a gray area, so my job also involves designing and developing a POC. Then I do the application development, refinement, and integration. And also talking to business. That takes up half your time, guys. I'll tell you.
I see.
Understand
Thank
what
you.
Awesome. And we have a question from Ryan. How difficult was it to collaborate with different groups in different time zones? We'll start with that one.
Okay, so uh, I had a lot of fun during my internship, I would say, but because because the project was such high visibility, you also need to put in the efforts, guys. So that is something. So if you want to do something that's high visibility, and like you just have 2 months to deliver it, okay, so you need to be on your toes. That's what I learned. But like, having said that, I traveled during this time. I'll tell you, I went to what do you say? I went to different places like Washington, D.C., I went to New York, I went to Boston, Pennsylvania. And while doing this, I had these time zones. I was working in various time zones. So yeah, I would say it is kind of difficult to set up meetings. Sometimes your sleep schedule is not perfect. I would agree with it. But then, at the end of the day, my manager was flexible enough to let me go where I wanted, and as long as I delivered. So that was something that I did. Yeah.
Awesome. Ian, did you work with just mainly US based employees, or did you work at an international with any international employees?
During the year, there's been another employee based in Pune that we've been working with. I'd say pretty much the main piece of advice I would say is just to have a good, consistent calendar that reflects the times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that's good advice for everyone. Always keep your calendar up to date, because you never know who's going to want to set up time to meet with you. Yeah, I've worked with international meetings as well, and it's like, as long as the calendars are up to date, it's much easier to communicate.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for all those tips, everyone. That's awesome. Since we got to keep rolling because we only have about 20 minutes left in this session, we'll ask one more question to Ian and Pranav, and then we're gonna shift into our intern program. I'm gonna shoot this one at you, Pranav. This is a technical one. As far as, is there any low-level coding, or is it high-level coding, Python, JavaScript, etc.?
I would say that most of the coding that we do is at a high level. It's mostly Python, JavaScript, and pardon me, working with databases and all that. But I'm from an IT team. I'm not sure about the product team. I would like to add, I'm not 100% sure about the product team, but as much as I know, circuit designing is not something that Veritas does. I'm sure about that. But if there is any software that we are using that goes to assembly level, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, thank you for that, Pranav. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to shift quickly here into our intern program, new graduate hiring, and just our application process, as I see some questions coming through regarding that. So we're going to touch on how to apply, what we have available, and then I'll, of course, answer some questions for you regarding that. So let's just talk super quick about our summer intern program. Obviously, Pranav and Ian, you guys both went through this program as well, and you were extended into the fall and hired. And that just is you guys are two living examples of really why we have our intern program. It's a feeder program into our future hiring. 4 goals for our intern program is for the interns to learn and grow, to create and innovate, to have fun, and to give back. So those are some things I'm going to talk through here. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea of what our intern program looked like this past summer, we had 41 interns that spanned across the United States from 23 universities, including San Jose State. Both Monique and Pranav are actually from San Jose State. Both just graduated this past December, yay! So we have some alums here on the line, which is fantastic. But students that were onboarded for our internship program were onboarded virtually. Next slide, please. Which made it a little difficult, right? Because you weren't on site meeting with the interns, doing things, but we tried to make it as fun and interactive as we could in that virtual setting. So we had a lot of virtual connects and fun virtual events. One of them was our escape room, Treasure Mountain Escape Room, which was a virtual event. Our paint and DJ party, as you can see there, where we all got sent big packages of painting kits, and there was a DJ there and a teacher, and she showed us how to paint this beautiful sunset picture. So those are just some of the fun virtual events we did, in addition to trivia and Pictionary and, you know, would you rather games that we tried to engage all of our interns throughout the summer. But also Learn and Grow. The interns had the opportunity to meet our wonderful CEO on the bottom left, Greg Hughes. And he joined us for a fireside chat Q&A, super informal. Interns got to ask him any questions, and it was just a great way to get to know the company from a high level. And then in addition to that, we also had workshops. So we had LinkedIn come and talk about, you know, how to rock your online profile and build your network, and then some internal resources that provided training around PowerPoint presentations and whatnot. So that's just a snapshot of really how we connected everyone virtually through the summer. Next slide. Awesome. So let's just touch quick on opportunities. So in the left-hand column, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 organizations, and everywhere from engineering and software, which is VPO, CS, which is customer success, which Ian's in, CMO, which is marketing communications, CFO, which is IT and finance, which Pranav is under, and then G&A, which is general corporate. In the right-hand column, you're going to see all the types of positions that we are looking to fill, or that we will fill in the future. Anything from a data science engineer, software developers, to business analysts, technical writers, to communications analysts, marketing specialists, finance analysts, IT business analysts, developers. So we have a load of positions and opportunities that stem across the company for interns and new graduates as well. Next slide, please. So just a little quick snapshot as well on majors that we do target. So for intern program, we target junior and above. In a VPO, you know, we're typically looking for computer science, machine learning, software engineers, mathematics, data science. Then in our CFO IT organization, you know, computer information systems, cybersecurity, security is huge. And then also computer science. And then we also have CS and CMO, where we can, you know, we hire more like technical business analysts in those positions, or in those majors, and then project managers, computer engineers, statistics type roles as well. So next slide, please. So just to give you a quick snapshot of our intern program breakdown and what you'd be, I guess, looking forward to in the summer. So the internships are 12 weeks in length. They have a set start date, set end date. They're paid, yay, because we all like to get money. We all need money. There's paid holidays and accrued PTO as well, which is amazing for an internship. Internships will be virtual again this upcoming summer, but they could be located close to one of our corporate offices, either in Santa Clara, Minneapolis, Heathrow, depending on where you're located. And we do encourage interns in those specific locations to, you know, connect and meet up with their groups if they can, for lunch or to tour the office. So we give those opportunities as well. And then of course, opportunity to be extended into the fall semester and come back for another internship, or be hired, even better. So graduating. Some of you might be done with the internship. You're just ready to get into the industry, corporate world, and start working. That's amazing. We do have opportunities for that as well. Just to give you a little overview of our amazing benefit package for for new graduates, we have a student loan repayment, which is up to $20,000 max. It's amazing. So Veritas will contribute up to $20,000 towards your student loans. So something that is a good chunk of change, you know, to help out with any of those student loans that maybe you've incurred through the last 4 or 5 years. Tuition reimbursement, up to $5,200 a year. That's a lot of money if you want to go get a certification or continue your education. So some great benefits that we do offer new grads, in addition to sign-on bonuses, wellness reimbursements, 401k match, etc. Next slide, please. So now you're probably thinking, all right, so how do I apply? This place sounds amazing. I want to work there. Where do I send my resume? This is how you do it. There's 2 options. So you can go to our veritas.com/careers page. You're going to see a university relations link. Click on that. You'll be able to filter through the opportunities from internship roles to new graduate roles. And the new graduate roles will actually say new graduate in the title. If they do not say new graduate, they're not a new graduate role. So that's something to keep in mind when you go and look through those positions. Same with the intern roles, it has to reference that in the title. So you can apply. Once you've applied, go ahead and send us your resume to that email address, university.relations@veritas.com. Let us know what position you applied for and why. And the reason why this is so important is because we get thousands of applications. And so for you to be able to really whittle it down for us and highlight a role, that's going to give us an opportunity to send you to a specific manager and tell us why. Why did I apply for this role? Because ABC, this is why I would fit great, so that we're able to check that out, read it, look at your resume, and send you off to the hiring manager. And we don't have to, sift through thousands of resumes to find you. So apply online, send us your resume with the rec you applied for and why. And then last but not least, of course, you can connect with us on LinkedIn, send us a message if you have further questions personally. Leanne is our director of global UR. She's not here today, but there I am, Sherry Bruin. Find me on LinkedIn. Monique Michelle, she's out there as well as our branding specialist, Emily. So you're happy to, or you're more than welcome to connect with us there. And of course, follow us. We're on every social media site you can find, every handle. We're there. You can watch YouTube videos about us. LinkedIn has some awesome videos that you can watch. Facebook, and you name it. So just get out there, find us, do your research, and you'll learn a ton. Next slide, please.
We are at the next Q&A point, and I see things populating in the chat box. First link doesn't work. Uh-oh. I will type in a new veritas.com/careers link. Sherry, are we sharing the slides or just the recording that Patrick's doing right now for this particular presentation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think just the recording that we'll probably be sending, or that Patrick will have available. Patrick, are you able to share that with this group afterwards, or typically is it just they have to go to the YouTube page to find it, or how does that work?
We'd recommend that students subscribe to the SJSU Career Center YouTube channel, but we can send an email out to students if they would like, for all participants for today, with a link to the YouTube video.
Awesome, thank you for that.
Yep.
And then Monique dropped the link back in the chat, so we'll see if that one works. Fantastic. Can we apply for 2 different roles? Absolutely, definitely. We don't recommend you going in and apply for like 15 roles. And the reason why that doesn't look that good, it just doesn't look like you're really focused in on one thing. You just want to kind of apply, to kind of get in there. And it looks better if you say, hey, I applied for this position, and this is why. That'll really put some of those keywords in that you see in the job description. That'll really help us get you to the right people. I wish we could respond to everybody. We just can't, unfortunately. There's just too much, which is great. We love seeing that students are interested in applying. It's amazing. But it really helps us from a recruiting perspective for you to be kind of, seeking a certain type of role and have one in mind that you're applying to. So.
Yep. All right, I was able to scroll up if we have time for one more. What are the prerequisites beginners should have for applying for data analytics internships? Pranav, Ian, Sherry.
Technical people.
Okay. So for data analytics, I would say, so one of my friends, she's doing data analytics. She did a data analytics internship, and she's also a full-time, I think Shivani, right? Shivani Manyam.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So basically get your Power BI and what do you say? The Power BI, and the second thing would be Tableau. Get those skills. Make sure you know and do some interesting projects, guys, because projects is what you're going to talk in your interview with the hiring manager. So your projects is going to highlight it, and then probably also doing some, knowing how to do basics of Python to transform the data how you need and all that would help as well. So all these things, do some projects, and I would say, yeah, that would be a good place to start for data analytics.
Yeah, definitely hackathons. I know there's a bunch at San Jose State University with different student organizations, and Patrick, maybe if you have any insight of other hackathons that happen at San Jose State, those that work for projects as well.
I would mention, like, I would recommend checking with the different colleges and departments at SGSU, and also check Handshake for a list of employer-run hackathons. You could check the box for information sessions and also virtual sessions when searching for events in Handshake.
Perfect. Thank you for that insight. So I think we're almost at time. Sherry, is that correct? And I know that a bunch of you, all of a sudden my phone started buzzing with all those LinkedIn request connections.
Yay!
We will get through them as much as possible. I know that a lot of times that's one way that you can connect with us, but definitely I'm going to highlight what Sherry had said. If you're looking to gain more insight about a specific role that you've applied to, send us your resume and the role you've applied to in an email to university.relations. And that's going to help us better refer your resume to that hiring manager. Once we're doing it through LinkedIn, then there's an extra step of us trying to chase everything down. So I really want to stress just emailing us your resume and the role that you've applied to and why you feel that that's a great role for you to the university.relations email for Veritas.
Awesome. And also, positions, our intern positions, they're going quick. They are. We're getting close to, we're rolling into March, thank goodness, because I'm in Minnesota and it's cold and I want February gone. And as we enter March, we're starting to wrap up our intern recruiting, because by April we want our classes secured for the summer. So, if you're really truly interested, get on our website, check it out, and check out the positions, and let that university relations email know which ones that you're interested in, and hopefully we can get you in front of that manager. So someone asked about cover letters. There's always, some people like them, some people don't. Depends on the recruiter. I wouldn't spend a lot of time doing a cover letter, to be honest with you. I think as long as your resume really speaks to the role you're applying for, that's important. Highlight or bold things in your resume that pertain to that role. If you're proficient in C, C++, Java, Python, and the role's asking for someone who's proficient in C++ and Java and Python, highlight that in your resume, because as recruiters, we're seeing hundreds of resumes, and there's so many technical skills that get thrown on those resumes that sometimes it all just kind of blends together. We probably spend 10 seconds, maybe less sometimes, skimming over a resume. So if you can make things pop out, and if you can really look at the role and highlight things that in your resume that pertain to that role, that's going to help us as well. So that's more important than a cover letter. When you're reaching out to us on that university relations email address, like mentioned in the email, add a few bullet points as to why you applied for that role and why you fit it. That's okay, but don't spend countless time on one huge page cover letter. That's my perspective. I know Monique shares that. Some recruiters might think differently, but that's kind of how we feel.
Yeah, at least at Veritas Technologies, cover letters are not something that we stress, but definitely that email is what we're stressing. I pulled up this slide again if you wanted to take a quick screen grab, or I hear someone off mute, sorry, or just real quick jot down that information, because I think we're about 5-ish minutes to the end of time. That sounded very sad. To the end of our session today. I need more coffee. Oh my goodness. But definitely thank you for all of your questions. They've been really great ones with lots of insight and the answers. And we just definitely want to thank you from all of us at Veritas, and especially us here at University Relations. Thank you, Pranav and Ian, for joining us and sharing about your experiences and what you've been working on. Always a pleasure to have you at these events.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who joined us. We love seeing students. We had 90 students. I'm so impressed. That's amazing. Thank you, Patrick and SJSU team for
Yes.
that. Your
Big shout out.
partnership is amazing. We really appreciate that. That's great. So everyone who joined, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come hear about us. And we hope to hear from you in the future. Patrick, did you want to finish with anything or?
I just want to say likewise, thank you, Monique, Sherry, Pranav, and Ian for all being here today. We appreciated having you all like last semester, and we got some really great insights from your interns and full-time staff for SJSU students today. And so some last points of interest. If you haven't already, we've like been posting the check-in form for today's event in the chat window. It's like forms.gle. Please check that and like click that. It's only just a few fields long. And we have, if you are available for it, a survey link. This information and feedback helps us run the types of events that you want to see and attend. If you like Veritas being here, please let us know that you like Veritas and want to bring them back for future events today or for next semester. But in the meantime, I think that's the conclusion for today's event. I'll say that Sherry and Monique have provided the University Relations email right there on that slide. Jot that down real quick if you haven't already. If you liked all the information that was in like the chat window today, in the chat window, there's like a ... button, and I think there's a button for save chat. That's a really handy feature for just having a text file containing all of, like the links and email addresses that were shared today, so that you can like save it for later in case you can't save it in the next like 2 or 3 minutes. But we'll keep this window open for like a couple more minutes just in case anyone has questions or last statements. But thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks a lot, everyone. It was nice to answer questions.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you.